Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name is Jason Newland. And please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. This is Let Me Bore Your Pain Away. It's not a replacement for professional medical help. I am not a doctor. I also am not an electrician either. There's lots of things I'm not. What I am is attempting to help you in some way, some tiny, small way. And it's really important that you find out the cause of the chronic pain that you are having before ever listening to this. Get permission from your doctor. Now, it's just a gentle recording. What I'm going to ask you to do is probably can be very different from what you would normally perhaps want to do when listening to, I don't know if you want to call this relaxing or whatever, but relaxes me. I'm going to ask you to focus on sounds. And it's not for the reason that I would perhaps ask in the past, which would be to kind of get accustomed to background sounds and all that stuff. No, we're actually welcoming background sounds. And the more you focus, might be on Vinny. You might be able to hear Vinny having a little chew on a bone. By the way, he's a dog, just in case you think I'm mistreating my gerbil. He's enjoying himself. Mistreating my goldfish. Giving your goldfish a bone? What kind of... Oh. So, I mean, I guess I can also be part of those sounds because I am, also talking. Blah, blah, blah. But you've probably, I'm just guessing you may have sounds where you are. Now you can just focus on those sounds, but I'd like you to first of all just have a little focus on your body, noticing how you physically feel right now before we get started. That way you can kind of gauge the benefit of this recording. Now, I call it Let Me Bore Your Pain Away, which is very similar to my sleep recordings, which I call Let Me Bore You to Sleep. These are a little bit more structured than the Let Me Bore You to Sleep. And I do keep coming back to, I may keep coming back to, how do you feel different compared to how you felt before? So in 10 minutes' time, you can gauge. It's really weird, just saying those words. I felt tingly in my back, in a nice way, Kind of quite uplifted. Almost like I'm doing something worthwhile. That was strange. I think it was because I was being mildly serious. Just for a second, when I was like, this is about helping, and, this is because I want to help you, and I'm not just talking a lot of rubbish all the time. This is more focused, more therapeutic, maybe. It's not meant to be. I don't really class anything I do when it comes to these let me bore you to sleep or let me whatever as therapeutic. It's more just, it's distraction, it's boredom, it's a bit of entertainment, maybe a bit of lightness, giving your brain a rest, slowing your mind down, allowing your body to just be there without focusing on any one part. A break from worrying. A holiday from the past. This is the same kind of thing really, I suppose, but because I'm focusing on the physical side and maybe on a particular part of your body, wherever that is, and also noticing how it changes. And I do find it amazing how the physical sensation can transform from one feeling to another, completely different feeling, so very quickly. Now, that fascinates me because it happened to me just now. Like, when my upper back just kind of felt light and fluffy, and it was nice because I guess I was saying nice things, and it's happening again. I suppose, in a way, my ideal world or my ideal life would be one thing I've wanted to do and have enjoyed doing for 20 odd years, more than 20 years. It's something I wanted to do for probably 25 years ago, rather, is helping people with chronic pain. And I've been doing it since 2006. But the idea of being able to talk and for you to be able to listen, and for the way that you physically feel before you start listening to me to change in a positive way, of course. I don't know why I said positive twice. It was almost like one word, positive. don't make fun of my stuttering. Positive. Sometimes I do stutter. Maybe we all do sometimes. I definitely stutter over really long words. I was trying to read out some countries the other day. Not countries, towns I think they were, in America. And some of the towns were like really long and hard to pronounce. Pronounce, yeah. Very much so. So I wonder what you can hear other than my squeaky voice. What can you hear? Sometimes it can feel like, well, I can't hear nothing. There's not really anything going on. And then when you listen a bit more carefully, you realise, oh yeah, there's... over there in the corner, there's someone playing the drums. You know, just something like that. There's someone under the table playing the trumpet. There's a helicopter landing in the garden. You know, just things that you hadn't noticed before. The most prominent thing for me would be Vinny. I can hear him just, he's not being noisy. Which means it takes a little bit more focus to hear him, a bit clearer than just generally him, you know, it's just being there as background sound. The other thing, I can hear the central heating's on, I think. I can hear my stomach gurgling a little bit, saying, "Daddy, I need some food. Give me some breakfast, please." I just realised that might be a bit weird, that my stomach calls me Daddy. Yeah, that does seem a bit strange, actually. I have to remember to edit that out. I wonder what you can hear. Maybe it's just the sounds on this recording. Vinny's sniffing around. I can see him in my peripheral. He's wanting to get my attention. But I'm not going to give him any attention. Otherwise he'll start jumping up and demanding things. Do you ever wonder what a dog or a cat or whatever kind of animal that you may have in your home, you imagine what they would do if they could just help themselves to stuff? They could just get their food when they wanted to. Get snacks when they want to, whatever. Just I wonder how often he'd go and get stuff. Or would he... I imagine he'd just be in there just chucking stuff on the floor. Don't want that, don't want that, I'll have that, I'll have that. Okay, I might have that. There'd be a lot of stuff on the floor. just for later. He's got this thing with nanny treats, and he heard that name. I better be careful. And when he sees her, he goes bonkers because he just adores her. Now, she'll give him a treeeeeeeeet, and he takes it and he drops it on the floor, and he goes back for another one, and she says, "But you haven't had that one yet," and he still looks for another one. He tries to see how many he can get before even eating one. Greedy, greedy, greedy. Clever, but very greedy. So and this is just a question, just wondering, how does it feel to just be listening to me? Just talking. Just waffling on. Do you feel more relaxed than you were before? Maybe you've noticed that your breathing has slowed down. Not because you've tried to slow it down or you wanted to slow it down. Just because it's naturally become more relaxed. And you may also find that your breathing is deeper, again naturally. There's no stress or strain in it, no force in it. Just it seems to be a natural thing that happens when you relax. And I notice that myself. The more relaxed I feel, the deeper my breaths are. So I can get a proper, good old lung full of breath, or lungs full of breath. And my chest feels lighter. Everything slows down. It's quite nice, actually. And also because it's natural, I haven't had to do anything for you to feel relaxed. It just happens naturally. So what sounds can you hear? It might just be your own breathing that you can hear. Maybe can move and you can hear your chair squeaking. Not quite as high pitched and annoying as my voice, but still squeaky. I can hear Vinny licking the sofa. I don't know why he's doing that. I mean, I figured he was hungry, but he can't be that hungry. He wants to start eating the furniture. I made a mistake of turning round and looking at him. He saw me, he caught me. Because I know that if he catches my eye, or I catch his eye, whichever one it is, I might have to go and get him some food. And that sounds quite rude, doesn't it? Like, oh, you don't want to feed your dog. Making a recording is more important than feeding your dog. Yeah, but I can't be bothered to get up. It's not just that, he's just eating something, so he's not hungry. And sometimes when I do that and I get him some food, he just leaves it. He just leaves it on the, in the bowl, looks at me like, almost like he's disappointed in me. I'm not angry with you, I'm just disappointed. Daddy, I expected more. That's sometimes the kind of things that he says to me. At this point you might be thinking, so both your dog and your stomach call you daddy. There's something strange going on here. I thought this was supposed to be, a recording to help with chronic pain. Fair enough, that's a good point. So let's focus on that part of your body. How does it feel different now to how it felt before? I mean, I don't know how long we've been talking for. I don't know, probably about 25 minutes, half an hour nearly. Doesn't time go? The time goes fast when you're bored. You can see why I call it "Let Me Bore Your Pain Away," can't you? It's probably not the most exciting conversation, if you can call it that you're going to hear today. In fact, you could probably get more excitement watching the weather forecast on television. I put the TV on like yesterday morning, like I always do, make me breakfast, normal routine, and there's a weather girl, or a weather person, on the Thames, like the London River Thames, and they've got the map of the UK broken up, England, Wales, Scotland, and they're floating. And there's two men standing there, and the presenter, a TV presenter, jumping over from one part of the foamy floating things the map of the UK to another bit, and she jumped onto the men for her to hold, make sure I don't fall off, and she does. She falls into the Thames River. I'm sitting there with my bowl of breakfast, or ready break, and a cup of tea, and I think to myself, this isn't Cheers. I had it on the wrong channel. It's little things like that that really, I don't know. When stuff like that happens, I think to myself, well, I just created a new memory. You know, something I can think about, tell the grandkids about one day. You don't know, do you? The grandkids might be sitting on my lap saying, "Granddad, E." I said, "Okay, yeah. Have you got any stories from the past that you can tell us?" I said, "I don't know. Suppose that's something. Well, maybe if you got some advice, a story, and that can help us, give us some advice for when we get older." Okay, kids, but you know, you are already 19 now. And we all laugh at me. And I say, well, yeah, well, I was watching this TV program, and there was this woman, two men on these floating island things, a mock-up of the UK on the Thames River. And she falls into the water. And I realised that I'm watching the wrong channel, because normally I'd have it on Channel 4, and this was ITV. So I turned over and watched Cheers, because that's on it in the morning. Or is it Everybody Loves Raymond? I think Cheers, it was on yesterday, but I'm not sure if it's on the weekdays. And at this point they might say, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Oh, doesn't matter, but yeah." So that's the story. Yeah, I'm not sure if that'll work. It might not be a very interesting story for them. But Granddaddy, what's the moral of the story? I suppose the moral of the story is, if you want to hear something incisive, something useful, something that will help you in your future lives going forward, don't ask me. I mean, there's questions to that story, isn't there? You said they were 19 and they were sitting on your lap. Well, they weren't really sitting on my lap, and they weren't really 19, because I don't have any grandkids. I don't have any kids. So, there you go. Joke's on you. Me. Imagine all those Christmas presents I could be getting. Presents, Father's Day presents. There's even Grandparents' Day presents now, which there never used to be. Blimey. Christmas. Do you reckon that's why people have so many kids? So that when they become grandparents, they'll get like non-stop presents. I hadn't thought about that. Oh. Anyway, It's not just about relaxing or focusing on sounds that you might be able to hear, maybe in the forefront, maybe in the distance. Maybe move your toes and your toes crack. Mine sometimes do. So it just happened then. That was brilliant timing. I don't know if you heard it. The weird thing is I don't feel quite as pleased as I thought I would. And I'm pretty certain if I'd have thought about this last night, like let's say if I planned my recordings, which I don't, but if I did, I mean I think you can tell I don't plan them because of the quality. But if I did plan this, and maybe I was sitting here for a few hours last night thinking, okay, do a focus on background sounds, which takes the focus off of the physical sensation, and then add the distraction of talking about weird things like stories about weather, people falling into rivers, and like really nonsensical stuff like that, and include Vinny, of course. He likes to be included. Well, we don't know if he does or not, but I just assume he does. But then I used to assume that my goldfish liked watching boxing. I don't know whether he did or not. But he'd be there and the boxing would be on. I mean, he didn't have his hands over his eyes, so he seemed to be okay. Mind you, he seemed to lose interest at times. You know, he'd watch it and then he'd be facing the other way. I guess that's just the stream, isn't it? Maybe it's the current of the water. Isn't it weird? You've got three different currents. You've got the currents of the water, you've got the fruit, and then you've got electricity currents. And although there's possibly absolutely no particular reason why I would have even said that, and it's of no relevance to this recording, it just popped into my mind, and I got temporarily mildly excited by it. Not excited in a weird way, if you know what I mean. I'm just, things like that don't excite me. It piqued my interest in a very mild, not erotic, but just, I just thought currents. I started thinking, what it is, I was thinking maybe I was feeding the goldfish currents. By the way, I shouldn't really just call him, his name is Milton. I shouldn't just keep calling the goldfish. His name is Milton. Milton, the goldfish. My first goldfish was called Popeye. I felt a bit bad about the naming him Popeye, because it turned out that his eye was only popping because he had a eye disease. But at the time, Popeye the movie had just, I'm not sure Popeye the movie had come out, but the cartoon Popeye was very popular. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man, Are you living in a caravan? I don't know, whatever the song is. So how are you feeling physically right now? You may be surprised at how things change, how you feel different. It's almost like the energy it takes to listen to external things, which may also include me, drives that feeling away, moves it, dilutes it. And there's also your mind. How much activity is going on in your mind right now compared to what was happening before? There's not much going on in my mind. That probably doesn't surprise you. By the way, that sound on my end, other than my voice, is Vinny. And he's just, it's the sound he's making. That's all I can say. I've told him we've got wet wipes if he needs them, but no, he's fine. It's quite peaceful, isn't it? It's very peaceful, very slow. I like this. I like just a bit of time when everything's quiet. Okay, most things are quiet. Not because it needs to be, but rather quiet internally. Not about how it is externally. Yeah, it's that comfort. It feels nice. I don't know about you, but it feels nice. I like it. My mind feels very peaceful, very slow. Very still. This has been a lot quieter than. I don't normally shout in my recordings. Don't think that would be particularly useful. You know, close your eyes and relax. it's not going to, that wouldn't work. Perhaps for some people it would, but it might be hard to believe that there are people out there that would find shouting relaxing. Serious. I'm not one of them, personally. This has felt a bit more relaxing than I was intending, really. It's not that I was hoping for less relaxation. It wasn't that, but I've kind of, it's almost like I've moved away from focusing on any part of your body. You just moved away from that. And there's a sense of comfort throughout your body. Loose, peaceful. Slow. Letting go. And Vinny started again with his bath time. So before we bring this Let Me Bore Your Pain Away recording to an end, I'd like you just to notice how you physically feel right now and how different you feel compared to how you did before. Before you decided to listen to my voice waffling on. Notice the difference, notice the changes. Notice how much more relaxed you feel. And I'm going to bring this recording to an end, but you may be listening on one of the longer versions. And you may choose to just continue to focus on outside noises, or you may choose to just drift off to sleep. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself because you deserve to be happy. Lots of love. Bye. Having Vinny make that sound is not the ideal ending to this recording, if I'm honest. Why did he have to choose now to just start doing that? Oh well. thank you, and bye. He's still doing it. Normally, when I say, the last bit at the end, he stops whatever he's doing, he looks at me, he's ready to do something. But no, not this time. He's definitely very, very focused as my voice gets croakier. Oh, that's better. It's much, much more clearer now. Oh. Right, I'm definitely going now. Bye. Surely he's not that hungry. He went from trying to eat the sofa to, I don't know, maybe I do need to get him some food. One thing's for sure, he's not licking my face. I did say that to him once. I said, why do you lick my face after you've licked yourself down there? And he said, just to take the taste away. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, it's like cleansing the palate, really. It's weird. I have to go to the chemist today. I might put it off till tomorrow. He's still going. Right, I'm off. Bye. I had a really early night last night. Just, I was in a mood for going to bed early, and I've woken up early this morning. And I thought that Vinny would be in bed. He normally needs at least 11 hours. And he just got up with me. I really believed this would be a nice opportunity to make a recording without him, being just, making noise. It's not really noise, is it? It's more sounds, but I think he's finished now. Okay, I'll go. Thank you for listening. Take care. Bye. No, he hasn't finished. Why am I waiting for him to stop making that noise in order for me to finish the recording? he's actually moving so much, he's causing the sofa to squeak. Right, I'm definitely going now. I am. I need to eat. Yeah, I should get him something. Maybe. I mean, it might be full now. I really don't know what's going on. Ta-ra for now. Ta-ra.